Hi, Dr. Brad Hulsebus here, and welcome to another podcast edition of Ask the Chiropractor. This is where people have a question about chiropractic care, and they want to know the answer, and they want to know the answer from a chiropractor, not anybody else. You see, only chiropractors study chiropractic. So although you might see a segment on the news about chiropractic where they tell you to check with your family doctor, or maybe you want to check with your family doctor before you go to a chiropractor, your family doctor and most other doctors have no training on what we do or why we do it. So they would be a bad person to ask. If you want to go to a chiropractor, ask a chiropractor. Same with dentistry. If you have a question about your teeth, don't ask a foot doctor, ask a dentist. So this is where people send me questions. They have questions for me. They want to know the answers. So I come on here, I do my podcast, and I give you the answer from a chiropractor. So recently I got asked a question because it's time to go back to school where we are right now. And people said, hey, I'm going back to school. We have to do school physicals. We have to do eye appointments. We have to go to the dentist. Do kids come to the chiropractor before back to school? Is there a reason to come to the chiropractor? Well, there's a couple reasons why people come to the chiropractor before back to school. One, if you've never been to a chiropractor, we do a lot of scoliosis checks. We see a lot of kids with scoliosis. We'll do a quick x-ray. We'll find out whether or not you have a scoliosis. And a lot of times because people are in this mindset of going back to school, let's get everything checked out. So stopping by your chiropractor for a scoliosis check is a great idea. Another thing we'll talk about a lot is posture checks. We'll see if your student has too much rolling the shoulders forward and the head sticking forward from too much reading over the summer or too much iPad or tablets over the summer. Books cause it too though. But in that sitting position, that hunched over, we can look at your posture, and maybe before we go back to school and we're sitting at a desk all day, we can go over some posture stuff with your student. We do that all the time. So if you have a student you're concerned about their posture and you're going to do a posture check, that's a good reason to come to the chiropractor before back to school. Another reason why people come to the chiropractor before school starts is they want to get their backpacks fitted right? These kids carry a lot of stuff in those backpacks, and you want to know whether or not you bought the right backpack, or the backpack you bought, what's the best way a student to carry it and get around with it? What's the best way we can load it up for the students? Chiropractors do it all the time. We have the kids come in, we put their backpacks on, we show them the right way of wearing it. We often tell them, this is the way you should wear it. A lot of times it's only over one shoulder when it should be two. And even as a chiropractor, I know that you're never an expert in your own house. So it's always better to go to somebody else and have somebody else be the expert, because as mom or dad, they don't always listen to you, but they might listen to a chiropractor. So we go over that kind of stuff with them too. The other thing we like to teach them is how to stretch, because when you're sitting all day in school, we have an old chiropractic saying that sitting to your spine is the same as sugar to your teeth. So if you have a kid that sits all day at school, they're not doing their spines any favors. So as a chiropractor, we'll teach them how to stretch and stuff during the day. And I like to kindly tease that I teach them stretches they'll actually do in front of their friends. I mean, there's a lot of great stretches you can do to get down the floor and do things and really move around. But we all know no one's going to do those between classes. But if I can show you how to stand up, maybe bring your chin back a little bit and squeeze your shoulder blades together and count to 10, that might be one you do between classes. And that can teach you how to stretch your hip flexors and your piriformis muscle, one of your hip muscles, while you're sitting in a chair and all you do is moving your knee a little bit. No one's really going to notice. You might do that one. Another thing we like to do is a lot of before you go back to sports checks too. So if you have a child that's going to be playing sports, going to a chiropractor is a good idea. Here in my office, we do a lot of cervical and neck x-rays before the season start. You see, chiropractors have got a really good track record of dealing with concussions. We're some of the best care right now given in any medical field for concussion relief is through chiropractic. Dr. Scott Rosen, Dr. Goodyear, and Dr. Longyear, I always say that wrong, Dr. Longyear, pardon me, Doc, yeah, we're friends, you'll forgive me. And then of course, Dr. Ted Carrick, no one's doing better than him when it comes to concussion stuff. They're all chiropractors. They're doing amazing work as chiropractors for concussion stuff. I myself have taken classes from all these doctors and learned a lot from these doctors. So what we like to do is we like to get an x-ray of the cervical spine, the neck x-ray, before the season starts, because if you should have concussion, we want a baseline to go back to. Because concussions are bad, but getting a second concussion before the first concussion's healed, that's devastating. So we always want to make sure it's okay for the kids to go back. I partner up with a medical doctor in town for doing all the concussion testing. He does the testing, we do the care. Great relationship, and the kids really benefit from us. So if you have a child that's playing sports, come on and get those x-rays taken before the season starts. Hopefully we never need to look at them. Hopefully they just sit there and they just collect dust. We never need them. But should we need them, man, they're awesome to have, right? They're amazing to have. This way we know to the kids safe to go back or not to go back. We can give them much better care, give you a much better guideline on what it's going to take to get them back to normal and stuff like that. So getting those x-rays is cool and vital. Now, for you parents that are worried about the sports with the concussions, I'm going to tell you this right now, that the severe concussions, the concussions that are really bad, the ones that kids miss a lot of time with, those are definitely your contact sports. That's going to be your football, your hockey, and stuff like that, where we're going full speed and we have the big collisions, especially when we wear helmets. Those are the ones that we see the big concussions with. But not the most frequent. The sport that we see most frequently with concussions, the number one sport with the most frequency of concussions, is girls soccer. So a lot of people don't think, oh, my daughter doesn't need to be, worried about concussions. She's only playing soccer. They don't hit each other in soccer. Well, if you headbutt the ball, you collide with another player on your team, stuff like that, you're going to have to worry about concussions. So don't downplay the sport, okay? All the sports need these x-rays taken. And when I used to volunteer at the local high school here in Rockford, the sport I saw with the most injuries was cheerleaders, dropping each other, hurting each other. So don't be misconstrued by that. Another good reason to come to the chiropractor before the sports season starts, a lot of times we can give you some cool little tips on how to lift weights and do stuff and get better at how you're doing things, especially here in my office, because we worked with almost every pro team in Rockford. So we've seen all kinds of cool stuff, got to work with some of the best when it comes to healthcare, sports minds out there. We get access to those guys. So come talk to us. Come see us before school starts. So why don't you go to the chiropractor before the school starts? Scoliosis check, posture checks, backpack checks. And then, I like to tease them, we call them chiropractic sports physicals, where we get our baseline information on you in case you should have a concussion or a head injury of any type, where we can help you. And remember this too, you cannot have a concussion or a head injury without a neck injury also. If you ignore the neck injury, the head never feels better. So let us know how we can help. And that's today's edition of Ask the Chiropractor, Back to School edition. If you have any questions for us, let us know. Leave a comment below. Shoot me an email. Go to my website, rockforddc.com, rockforddc.com. Hit the Contact Us button. Otherwise, you'll see all these former episodes under the blog section. Go there, and if you're listening to me on the podcast, you wonder what I look like, you can go to the website and see the actual videos. All right, everybody. Stay healthy, stay strong, and good luck this year at school, and we'll talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.